Welcome to the Crazy Agent Dinner Party. Part group therapy, part inspiration, entirely for real estate agents to dish on this crazy business we're in. And remember, real estate is crazy, and you don't have to be. Here is your hostesses with the mostesses, a combined 40 plus years in real estate, Coach Konversion Kourtney, and the real estate mom you never knew you needed, Amanda, the marketing mama. Our special guest today is Miranda Cady, nationally top producing realtor and global lifestyle and luxury real estate advisor, working exclusively with the world's leading luxury brands in all key markets. On today's menu, we're dishing up accelerating into luxury.
Well, thank you, Jenny, our trusty and faithful sidekick. Accelerating into luxury. Have you accelerated this week, you guys? I hope so. And if not, then after today, you definitely will. Because we're here to gather to do a little bit of group therapy, a lot of inspiration, and entirely for real estate agents to hopefully sell more real estate, but more importantly, have way more fun doing it. So welcome, Miranda Cady.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me, ladies.
And talk about luxury, like have more fun doing it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would make it a luxury.
Smarter, not harder, right? Work play is a thing.
It is a whole thing. So for starters, I find you fascinating as a human, but also as an agent because you really, like you're an artist, you are very well traveled, you really dug into luxury like with intention from the get-go. And I think that that's something that people need to know about because that's what makes you such a great coach. So for starters, let's quickly dig into that.
Yeah, let's talk about it because I was really impressed when I heard did you work your way up to being a luxury agent? And she just jumped
like, no,
right
I did
in.
not.
So let's talk
I knew what
about
I wanted
it.
and I got it.
Literally. Amanda, I love that you bring that up. So I remember when I first was talking about getting into the real estate space and the luxury real estate space, I knew exactly which company I wanted to work for. Sotheby's International Realty, the best luxury global brand in the world for the affluent clientele. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do. And I remember my family going like, shouldn't you work your way into the space? Like, shouldn't you go work for Century 21 or Coldwell Banker or Remax for like 10 years and figure it out first? And then I was like, no, I am not wasting 10 years of my existence doing something that I hate or am not passionate about. It's not that I would hate real estate at lower levels, but I want to be inspired by the life that I live, and I want to inspire others. And that was
an
really,
artist mentality. You're a very talented artist.
Thank you. Thank you. I love aesthetics. That's actually the reason I'm an abstract painter and artist. The only reason I even sought real estate or luxury real estate to begin with is it's my goal and ambition that whether I'm dead or alive, my paintings get sold at the Sotheby's art auction house in either London or New York. So in getting my real estate license, it was my aspiration to put my paintings in the most expensive homes around the world via myself and my colleagues. And I'm happy to say I have some paintings and some great collections.
Way to go,
Yeah,
girl.
yeah. So that means
awesome.
to an end.
Setting intention, right?
I mean,
setting intention.
specifically.
I never thought I'd actually become a total badass at selling luxury real estate and that I'd, become this national top producer and have the career and reputation that I do. It's kind of took me by surprise the speed at which I accelerated through this industry. And I'm so honored that I now get to share it with everyone else.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you.
So speaking of speed, you've only been, it's like less than 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Which is really unheard of, honestly, even getting into any sort of success or known for success, that is. And I've seen it. Like you have some pretty big names in the real estate world in your phone, and you're texting with them, and I'm like, wow, sharing these like $100 million listings and whatnot. And I find that really, really inspirational. So let's really dig into accelerating into luxury with kind of like just a few little outlines. Let's really get into the meat and potatoes of it.
Absolutely. So I think if you're going to do anything in life and you're passionate about it, you need to become an expert. And the clientele in this space expects that you know the industry inside and out. So being new and fresh into the space, I used to spend easily 3 to 4 hours a day researching, studying, not just other key agents in the markets that I aspired to be like, but everything and anything about the luxury real estate industry that the consumer might be asking me because it's so quintessential and critical. At the end of the day, you can look however you want, you can dress however you want, you can drive whatever you want, but if you don't know your content, if you can't quote off the top of your head the price per square foot for new construction or resale, or how much water foot frontage costs in certain markets and neighborhoods, you're dead in the water. They know you're faking it, right?
Yep.
And I firmly believe that as you grow into this space, it's okay to quote unquote fake it till you make it and overcome that imposter syndrome. but you can't do it disingenuously to the actual content, core content and concepts of what you are paid to know.
100%. Because you can't fake expertise and you can't fake experience.
Right.
I don't even necessarily go by faking confidence, because I believe that you should go into it confidently, thinking that you can figure it out. And if you're not confident, then you should, hire a coach or hire a mentor that can get you there. There's so many people within a transaction. If you're not confident, you can be by literally just asking all the people that you're with.
Doing that studying and having the knowledge builds confidence, right?
Absolutely.
And so that helps.
Yeah.
So what is like that dollar price point considered for luxury? Like, what is the bare minimum?
Every major market really varies. Throughout the state of Florida last year, we had, I'm really good at studying markets across the nation. So throughout Miami, Tampa, there were about 3,000 properties that sold in each of those markets within a 30-mile radius of their city center, $1 million plus. Of that, about 10% is $2.75 million up in both of those cities. And that tends to be kind of a standard throughout the nation. Any market that I've looked at, whether it's San Antonio, so on and so forth, you have about 90% of your luxury space between the $1 and $2.5 million range. Now, if you get into California, those price points go up quite a bit, and it really does depend on the market that you serve. I always suggest that agents look at the upper echelon of their luxury market and then work their way backwards to find where that number lies, that 90%. But typically that's considered more of the bread and butter luxury. A true luxury agent, when I was studying agents I aspired to be like, I noticed that there was no like accidental by happenstance 1.2 or 1.5 on their repertoire. It was like 2 million, 5 million, 1 million, 3 million, 6 million. It was like every single transaction that they closed was a luxury transaction. And that's the type of agent I aspired to be like. So yes, when I was starting out in my career, I'd take everything I could get to build the experience and build the financial capacity for those massive marketing campaigns or to go to every conference. I built my career off of going to 5 to 10 networking conferences around the country and the nation, easily spending, back in the day before inflation, $3,000 to $5,000 per conference, learning from the experts in the industry around the nation and really hearing how they built their careers. And that's really the wisdom and the basis that got me to where I am. And I really highly recommend that everyone kind of take the same type of pursuit. If you're choosing this path, it is a financial and economic investment. You have to kind of continually replant those seeds to plant an orchard, but in the meantime you can't forget to scatter grain for like next day's meal, right? Otherwise you will starve through the winter. Absolutely. So if you're an agent with responsibilities, a family, other things, you have to structure your business so you can ease into the space where you're storing economic wealth to invest in the type of marketing campaigns that will require to list these properties.
Right. So what is like the average price for marketing for luxury listing?
This is a great question. Yeah, it depends on the reputation you're trying to build. One property in particular failed to sell multiple times with some of the best agents in the Orlando metro market. If you're from Orlando metro, it was the Mogan Buns. Wow, dyslexia at its best. Just say Morgan and Morgan. It wasn't that. But anyway, some high power attorneys in Orlando had the estate, and they used it. It was like a massive 20-acre estate with zebras and ostriches and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, very hard to sell,
cool.
right?
10,000. I love zebras.
10,000 square foot estate. And so this specific property, I ended up shooting a $30,000 lifestyle video commercial. Ooh. We flew in actors from New England. We did wardrobes. We had a producer come in, and it was like a full legit commercial. It took us 3 days of filming. It was incredible. Wow. The property sold in 43 days to a cash buyer from Singapore. Wow. After failing to sell for years.
Well, so, I think that's so important. You really do need to know your audience, because not everybody out there is buying a $10 million or whatever. Like that. That's a pretty specific audience. And so then you really need to know how to get your content to that audience and make it really impactful when you do get it to them.
Absolutely.
So, and you took that time to learn and understand that. And I think that's so important, because most agents wing it. Crazy chicken littles that they are. And you really do need to do your research. And I love the fact that you spit out like data, because that's my jam. I love data, and it always delivers results. You can't fight with data. Like it's the numbers of it all.
And you really need to do your research. It is, again, an investment. Every time you list a property, like you said, Amanda, it should be specific to that property. Your marketing campaign needs to be based off of the client avatar that the buyer is, right?
Yeah, who are you selling it to?
Exactly. What digital ads, what magazines, all this stuff varies. So you should have that budget in your head before you sit down at that listing appointment.
And so, just again, a lot of the luxury agents that I work with, they do a lot of advertising in golf magazines or yacht magazines or, things like that. Expensive cars and stuff like that.
I love fast cars. You can take me to the track any day.
Did you ride in the race car at Grand Prix?
I did not this year. It's on my list for next year.
I did, and I passed out for 6 seconds because it was so fast and I was literally about to die. But it's crazy. I can't believe I have a Maserati. I go like 135, and I can't even tell. But however fast Crazy Pants was going, I don't know. But it made me like pass out. It was insane.
I've gone 160 down the 408 on a date. I won't tell you who or when, but it was fantastic. I love.
It was like hugging the wall. I mean, I loved it.
I rode with Mario Andretti, and so like I'm 6 foot nothing, and Mario
is my height.
These men are tiny.
Yeah.
Well, at what 83, 84?
I don't know.
It's like riding a bike for him.
Crazy.
It was crazy. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun.
So funny.
So Miranda, talk about like going into the luxury space and what type of agent, what type of person you need to be able to attract the clients.
Mm-hmm. This is the number one question I get. I do private one-on-one coaching where I literally pour into agents a decade's worth of information in 10 weeks. And the number one question that's consistent between agents who are already in the program and agents who are considering it is how do I do this? How do I connect with the clientele? And the number one recommendation I give everyone is you have to be authentically, genuinely yourself. And this is where Amanda brings up different articles or publications that they invest in advertising. Obviously, if you're a golf enthusiast, you're going to focus on a golf niche, right? If you're loving deep waters, deep sea fishing or yachting experiences, you're going to focus on the boating world. It is so critical. The very first session, we literally dive into everything and anything you're passionate about. And what I notice is the hardest thing for average American agents, there's nothing wrong with this, but if you're regularly selling, consistently selling, 20, 40, 60 transactions annually in the 350 to 500K range, you don't have time for hobbies. Like that's not a luxury that you have. So
now I feel attacked. I'm just saying
No attack. But if you're out there dreaming of like working smarter, not harder, and having more time and kind of mingling this work play vibe where you can get creative with your family and spend more time making memories with them while working, it is key and core that you first identify who you are. If you've always dreamed about taking up tennis lessons, now's your time. If you're passionate about aviation and you want to get your, flight and you want to be a pilot, go do that. So you really have to, Amanda's like, keep me out of the sky.
Absolutely not. Like I need a Xanax to get on any plane at all times. No.
I'll tell RP before the job.
No, listen, every time I'm like, I can't even look out the window. It's too tiny up there.
That's true.
Get a bigger plane, RP.
I love that you talk about your passions, right? Because as being an agent, it's like, how do we mold ourselves into what the client wants, what the client expects? And really, it needs to start with us.
Yeah. At this level, people are so used to being sold or attempted to have people come after their business and their resources. They're not a very trusting demographic. So you really have to build that trust with integrity and honesty. It's literally the only way to do it. They can smell a fake, a phony a mile away. Guys, I think the other misconception is like, I have to dress in, Louis Vuitton or Gucci or Christian Dior. Or the truth of the matter is, yes, look classy, look sexy, be confident.
Feel good.
Feel good.
If you feel good, you'll do good.
But they know what you make, and they know that you're not, if you're working with a billionaire hand in hand, there are 3,194 billionaires. That's like a very small village. And
that's a specific stat that
I told you the data, the details. 3 to 4 hours a day. I never quit studying.
I love it. My kind of girl.
Right? So, if any of you have come from a small town like I did, rural Southeast Minnesota, 1,500 people, everyone knows everyone.
Yeah. That's how you get to, people always thought I was hitting on them. Like when I first moved to Florida, I'm like, no, that's just how people are. Like in normal towns, like we're just friendly and we want to know what's going on with you. I do not want to make out with you. We're just friendly, right?
Absolutely friendly. So, with that charisma and that spirit, everyone knows everyone. It's a very small, tight-knit community when you get to the top. And so, one, you have to think about that from two ways. Once you prove your reputation and you've built yourself up as this expert and you're really conquering transactions and you're delivering, that spreads quick, right?
Right.
But equally on the other end. So if you're being disingenuous, if you're being fake, if you're being fraudulent, it's very easy for them to tell what you're capable of. Sure, you might have multiple streams of income. You could have different businesses. Maybe you do drive that Lambo and you have a $10 million estate on the water yourself. But for the most part, most agents representing this clientele are not that individual. So you really, it's okay to be exactly who you are and exactly where you're at. Again, you have to remember you're providing a service to the clientele, which means you're an expert at everything luxury real estate in the niche that they're passionate about, whether it's equestrian, whether it's, waterfront communities, ski communities.
Is that you love ski communities, huh?
I love beach to ski, right? Like that sun and surf meets the winter play. The consumer usually has a property in both locations, multiple properties, sometimes in other locations as well. But the consumer loves to live where they work and play,
right?
Where they're building memories with their family.
So the first luxury deal that you ever did, were you like, this is the first luxury deal I have ever done? Like, I love being honest, but being authentic. But there's sometimes where like
you can keep
a little bit of the mystery.
Right? I love that you girls picked the tagline for today, accelerating into luxury, because it's so funny. This is coming full circle. My very first luxury deal, I mentored under an agent who'd played in this space for a very long time. Ironically, you're going to love this, Amanda. DeLand, Florida.
Hey, that's my home.
20-car garage.
Ooh, that's
with
a lot of cars.
Dale Earnhardt senior and junior actual race car in the garage. Yeah, it was like it's a
There's a stripper pole in that house too.
We called it a tetherball pole.
Okay, sure.
For the kids, 2 stripper poles actually. Yes, it was very. Yeah. That was the challenging part.
That was your first deal?
Yeah, it was my first deal.
Wow, very cool.
The agent I mentored under had a falling out with the seller. God bless him for whatever reason, and
fell off that pole.
You fell off the pole. The seller had seen me in his cameras, all of his security cameras. Literally, like I was the one washing the windows before every showing. I was like giving it that love, care, and attention because I really wanted to play in the space. I would have done anything.
Yeah.
I worked on that transaction complimentary for a year under the other agent, like literally doing everything possible.
I literally worked for 30% my first year and like a slave because I just wanted to learn. Basically, a sponge intern. Yep.
That's what it takes sometimes. I think agents sometimes give a bad rap to these team structures or things where agents in a role of mentorship are feeding you all this knowledge and information,
right?
And they get a bad rap for taking a big
it's valuable.
It's hugely valuable.
Super valuable. Yeah.
Like you think about it. I've probably spent well over $500,000 building my brand. Like constantly reinvesting, constantly planting that orchard. That's expensive. So if I'm going to go ahead and give you everything I worked a decade to build, like. What is the value of that to you? Are you willing to work day and night, round the clock, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed for a decade to build this career for yourself? Are you willing to reinvest every closing check into building this for yourself? And most people would say no.
No, absolutely not.
So I did that. Now, thank you that I've gotten to this place, but it was through hard work and dedication. You're not going to get the results if you don't do the work or invest the resources. So if you can't do it yourself, you need to pair up with a mentor. You need to find someone who can show you the way. I think that's vitally
important. So he saw that you were doing a lot of the work and basically hired you to sell that house. That's cool. I showed that house twice, and I even looked at it for my own purchase.
Really?
Yeah. It's a cool house.
It is a cool house.
It's a lot of cars. That's a big waste of space for me, but...
We pulled it from the market. They completely renovated it. We put it back on the market. The purchaser, I believe, had a massive online, like, Amazon company.
I love that neighborhood,
and I think they utilize the space for storage.
That would make sense. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's great.
An at-home warehouse.
Genius idea.
When you look at like time management and time blocking, you mentioned that 3 to 4 hours are spent in research. I am a coach, right? Amanda's a coach. Have you ever recommended 3 to 4 hours a day?
So I call it smart agent time, and I firmly believe if you're not selling real estate, you need to be researching real estate. You need to be literally eat, breathing, sleeping it because if somebody asks you about the market, then you need to know what your market is. And if you don't, then please go back to your computer and do the research.
Absolutely.
If you're not physically out there selling, you need to be researching every single day. Your smart agent time is so important. Yes. And then also like what you need to learn to be better at your job, whether it's learning about short sales or learning about whatever. That includes that kind of time too, but you really need to do specific research on your market and on your niches and on software, on even the MLS. Like doing that is so pivotally important to really understand how to do your job effectively. Indeed. Like if you worked for a company that paid you a salary, they would have requirements for you to do those things. And so if you look at your job like it's a real job, because it is a real job,
yes.
If you play it like that, which unfortunately not a lot of agents do, but you should, then you would invest that time into it.
That's a game changer when people start showing up and actually investing. Well, think about it. Most people wake up with their cell phones and go to bed with their cell phones. Whether we're supposed to or not, people do it. If you're not plugging it in the other room, why not utilize that time doing something more productive for your life and your career where you can, even if you're passionate about something, and this is where the luxury real estate space plays really well, because maybe you are the gentleman who's obsessed with Lamborghinis and Bugattis and all of the Aston Martins, and now before bed you're studying that because you want to represent clientele who buy garages that fit these cars.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can take something that you're already going to be spending time on and transition it. It's literally the whole concept behind my coaching program is taking what you're already doing and figuring out how to make it profitable. Right.
Or being willing to do it, because you don't always have the knowledge or know-how. It's specific to area, specific to niche, whatever. You may not always know it. You're not going to know everything. That's the number one thing I wish I could tell agents is you're never going to know all the things because there's infinite variables, because it all has to do with people. But being willing to take that time to learn is super, super important.
Buying a house for the cars is a real thing. I had a client who did not buy a house because the Hummer would not fit in the garage.
Yes. Car enthusiasts would rather part with the home than their cars, right?
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Real thing. It's a real thing.
It is a thing.
So just as like the icing on the cake for luxury, can you give us just a little tip or whatever for the people that you feel?
That little something extra.
A little cherry on the
cherry.
I think use the power of your imagination to truly picture what it would look like if you were a top producing luxury agent 5 to 10 years from now. Really close your eyes, do that manifestation work, right? What does your life look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Rich and opulent. What are you driving? Where do you live? Who do you hang out with? Who are your friends? What does your family get to do now that you're making all this money, right? And really picture that tangibly. And know that if you're willing to put in the hard work, time, and dedication, I tell my kids every day, you can have anything you want in life as long as you're willing to work smart enough and hard enough to achieve it, long enough and hard enough to achieve it. So if you're willing to study the information, to do the work, to show up consistently every day towards building that dream, one day, like me, you'll wake up and go like, oh my God, like, I did it.
I did
it, right?
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey, right, says he's always chasing himself 10 years down the road. Now today I wake up and I still don't feel like I'm where I need to be because my goals are now 10 years from here, right? Like down the road, my goal is to help at least 100 agents pour everything I've ever learned into them, take everything I've learned in the real estate industry, wrap it up in a cute little Tiffany box with a nice little bow, and pass it on to the next generation, right? Like, I'm done. I did what I came here to do.
Same goal, girl.
Let's do it.
Let's do this. Let's sell some real estate and have some fun.
Yes.
So speaking of coaching, our weekly virtual to-go box was really awesome this week. Do you want to tell us about it, Miranda?
Absolutely. I'm so grateful for you ladies for having me here today. Anyone who reaches out to me via Facebook Messenger, they'll provide you the link, and you say that you heard about this on the Crazy Agent Dinner Party, I will go ahead and give each of you a complimentary consultation to discover whether this path is the best fit for you. And of everyone who comes for a complimentary consultation, one of you will win a $10,000 independent private one-on-one coaching session with me for Q4 this year, starting the first week in October.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yay, Miranda Cady.
Yeah.
And luxury listing lady.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about confidence, right? Like, right there. Let's talk about confidence. Thank you, Miranda.
You're welcome.
And so for our last little bite, you guys, it's so important. Think about yourself in 10 years. Imagine yourself being there. Invest in yourself, and whatever you want to happen can happen. But remember, real estate, it's crazy.
And you don't have to be.
If you're in real estate, you know one of the hardest things about this business is actually getting the business. Yeah, we walk a fine line between being self-employed and unemployed. The doubts and challenges we all have can start to feel like a losing battle. But at Your Real Estate Advisory, our goal is to help agents win. So start winning by starting conversations with our Conversation Starter Real Estate Swag. Get a lot out of Little League by standing out on the sidelines. Sell a home while at Home Depot. And find house shoppers while you're grocery shopping. Wherever you are, let everyone know that you're the agent to know for all things real estate. Yeah, you should prospect every week, but don't worry, it doesn't have to be hard. Our products help you talk about real estate so you can truly be about real estate. For real estate swag and so much more, check out yourrealestateadvisory.com because real estate is crazy and you don't have to be.